Right. This was Alex's suggestion this week. So, would you like to start us off, Alex, with superhero sellouts and what we are actually getting at with this probably mostly rant about the state of the industry?
Yeah. We've got a lot of comics, shows, films that we like. We really like them.
Hmm.
And then they start taking a dive. The different reasons for them, whether it's greed or pandering to certain groups of fans or just for no apparent reason whatsoever, things just decide they're going to die. It was brought up most recently for me. I've just finished. I'm up to date with the Arrow, and the Arrow has died since season 2. It's been a slow death through season 3, and then season 4 they seem to take it to places where you can't ever see a show like that going. And it's quite easy to go on a rampage and blame it on certain characters, which I'm probably going to end up doing in a second. And anybody who watches the show probably knows where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
But frankly, it's not good anymore. Started watching it in February. Started watching season 1 and 2 while I was away on holiday with my other half, and we absolutely loved it and wondered how we'd lived this long without watching this show. And I was told back then, wait till you get to season 3, it's never as good. And I was like, yeah, it's fine, it'll be absolutely fine. And no, it really wasn't. It's just died. I've never seen somebody who arms themselves with a bow and arrow fire an arrow so few times as Oliver Queen did in season 4. I mean, he's got a composite bow, fair enough, and blah, 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 but you don't use it as a mallet. I just don't understand, and I was so irritated. And from the biggest issue for me is the focus on Felicity Smoke, in particular. A lot of the fans online love Felicity, love the relationship between Oliver and Felicity, and think that that's the best way of the show to go, and point out the differences to the comics, the fact that Felicity doesn't exist in the comics. And this season, they've ended up doing things to characters which should never have been done on a screen at all. And they've pandered to that group of fans online. I'm going to use the internet term of Felicity shippers.
Yeah.
Felicity Smoke was an excellent character. Excellent character in the first 2 seasons. Absolutely exceptional. She added comic relief, and she was a useful deus ex machina, for want of a better term. She could solve things that the others couldn't solve.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point in season 4, and I'm going to spoil the end of season 4 now.
Feel free.
Because nobody should watch it anyway.
I'll put my spoiler hand up for video viewers, and I'll put it down when you're finished.
There we go.
Go on.
Damien Dark, this season's antagonist, launches 15,000 nuclear missiles. Not 15.
Is that enough?
15's enough. 15,000 nuclear missiles. And Felicity Smoke manages to stop them alongside her calculator father by a bit of hacking. Not just that, the one which was pointed for Star City, she hacked into and just changed the location of Star City. I'm pretty sure that nuclear missiles aren't that hackable. Okay, Han can come back down again now.
Thanks, mate. I was getting tired.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And they've just created these storylines. And they've introduced characters continually throughout season 3 and 4, which are directly related to Felicity.
Well, the interesting...
And she's not the main character.
The thing of... I haven't watched it for a while, because, like you say, he just started whacking people with this thing, and Diggle put this helmet on, and I was like, I'm not watching this anymore. It was over for me at that point. So, I don't know exactly what the hell's been going on, but from what I understand, there was a directive from Warner that they were stepping on the toes of Suicide Squad a bit too much, and basically pulled the rug out and said, you can't do this anymore because you're going to confuse our audience when they go to the movies and go, what the fuck's going on? These aren't the people I know. It's bullshit. It's basically saying that the audience is too stupid to get the 2 versions of different characters in a world where we have got 2 or 3 or 4 versions of every fucking character. So whatever, but I think that's probably had a knock-on effect of them having to scramble a bit and be like, well, what are we going to do then? Like, we've got to finish what we were doing with that kind of plot point and come up with something else. And maybe that's knackered them up. But again, it fits what we're talking about. We're talking about selling out, and they are just trying to save their movie and the cost of another property, and it's just not how things should be done.
Big issue as well. I don't understand any world where Grant Gustin isn't in the films as well as the Flash. That is an absolute travesty. But I'm not going down that route because it looks like Scott's going to go down there.
You're going to upset
But Suicide
Scott.
Squad were not. The Suicide Squad were not a big part of the Arrow.
Weren't they?
They could have been, but they weren't.
Well, I mean,
they had a couple
they
of
kind
bit
of teased
parts.
Harley. End of season 2,
They
Harley.
teased.
But they've come out and said
But that's it.
that this is what a direction they wanted to go in, and
it would have been awesome.
and there's a lot of fans kind of annoyed that they haven't been given that opportunity, because to them they're more interested in a show that they get 20 hours of a year than a 2-hour movie that they're going to wait 3 years for.
Which wouldn't be a problem, right? Except they're massive hypocrites because Superman's now in Small Girl, Jesus Christ.
Small Girl, yeah.
Oh yeah, because they've cast him, haven't they?
Yeah, they cast Superman.
Yeah.
Superman is going to be on TV. But, you can't have that Suicide Squad because of that. Yeah, you can't have two Superman. I mean, you can have two Supermans, but you can't have...
it's such bullshit. It is such bullshit.
So dumb.
I mean, let's just give up on Arrow, Alex, because I think you need
They
to...
can't pull it back. It's literally... They can't pull it back.
I'm hoping. I wrote a long... I've got my rant that I wrote on the website sat next to me, and all I'm looking at is the gif of Oliver and Dark fighting. I say fighting. They forgot to recruit a fight sequence coordinator, I think, for this episode, because it is just the two of them slapping each other.
Yeah.
And it's just... I mean, Oliver should be up on top of a building firing arrows. He shouldn't be down just getting into a bitch flight.
It is more of a ranged weapon.
And it's...
What? Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's just quite
No.
good at the old bow, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not bad.
It's quite useful with that. But it's absolutely ridiculous. And then they have characters like Deathstroke, who could have been something amazing for the universe, and they just went, nah, just one season, that'll do. No. If that's honestly the way you want to go.
If I follow him on Twitter, he tweets all the negative stuff about Arrow.
Oh god,
it's great.
He's not impressed.
He's not impressed at all.
And then you've got... I mean, the fact of the matter is, the Arrow subreddit this summer, at the end of the season, changed their focus. They're now watching Daredevil. as a subreddit, they are dedicated to Daredevil.
As they should be.
I mean, if you can... It's just... These were your fans, and they've turned away from you. And then you've got the shippers online who are sending hate messages to Stephen Amell's wife and cropping her out of pictures and swapping her face with Emily Bett Rickards. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And all this is because they've been pandered to and they feel like they're entitled to the show that they desperately want and that they've got their little Tumblr pages celebrating. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, but God, it is ridiculous what's happening to the show.
I've just thought of how they can fix it. Flashpoint can fix it.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
and just to fuck with them, they could do it where Oliver isn't with Felicity.
No, they can do it that Oliver is with Felicity, just right at the very start of the story, and she's the one who's left on the boat. That would suit me perfectly fine. She goes down with the ship.
I mean,
would fix it.
In all seriousness, Flashpoint can fix whatever it wants. They have got this little magic fucking button, and if they want to erase past mistakes, this is the time to do it. So maybe we'll give them one more chance, but
it depends if it is mega crossover.
Yeah, well, I think it will be, because if Flashpoint is anything to go by, it's going to involve more than just the Flash. We'll see. But if anyone wants to actually read
it will at the very least.
Your rant, Alex, what do they Google? What's the title of your...
What happened to Arrow? It's called What Happened to Arrow, or just go onto outerlives.net and search for Arrow.
You can see the tears on the page as you scroll through it.
It's quite.
It was painful to write.
It is emotional. It's not just Arrow that fucks about in this realm, though. Like, we've had plenty of examples of bullshit. Like, I've got to this point where, as a lifelong nerd, I've just had to take what I can get. Like, I'm with you, Scott. I used to watch Smallville, and I'm not trying to be disparaging about Smallville either. Don't want to get you going.
Well, that's the best version of Lex Luthor, isn't it?
That. I'm not going to argue.
That is true.
I used to watch that. I'd watch anything they put out. I'd go to the cinema and see whatever film. I went to see Green Lantern and Superman Returns, and I'd fucking take what they gave me because there wasn't a lot of it. But we're in this age now where we've got so much choice, and we are in danger of outstaying the welcome of comic book stuff by overwhelming the audience. Especially in the TV realm at the minute, and I've made this decision of if I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to watch it anymore. That's done. It gets a couple of episodes, and I'm fucking over it. I've ditched Arrow, ditched Flash, didn't even start Legends, didn't even start Supergirl. Just like I had enough of will they or won't they kiss? Who is going to kiss who? Why is everyone looking at each other with those puppy dog eyes bullshit? So, and this kind of, I think for the first time this year, has come to the point where I'm not even going to cinema to watch I didn't watch Fantastic Four. I didn't go and see Apocalypse. I heard they were poor to mediocre. And I was like,
I liked Apocalypse.
Well,
what it's worth.
But I feel like with this amount of choice, we don't have to watch everything, and it's kind of great. Fantastic Four was this abomination made by people who just wanted to hang on to the rights for another few years. And when they've done this more than once, by the way, Fox. When you make a film because you have to, because your time's running out, you're not going to make a decent film. Sorry to tell you. You're going to rush out and make a fucking dog shit movie that we're going to end up spending money on and wasting our time on. So I think it just needs to kind of come to an end. Otherwise, we are going to race towards the end of this era that we're in, which is this glorious time where all of our childhood imaginations are coming true, and we've got shared universes and these larger-than-life characters finally on the big screen, and they're getting recognition, they're getting massive numbers at the box office, but we're in danger of like upsetting the apple cart by just polluting it with bullshit, and it's a bit scary.
Well, I mean, Batman vs Superman didn't break $1 billion at the box office.
That's a real telling
two
sign.
Iconic characters, but the movie just wasn't good.
Exactly, and for the first time we started seeing that reviews impacted box office receipts, word of mouth by the drop off. Like, people go back to see these movies 3 or 4 times because they're spectacular. They get the money's worth out of them. There's bits you can pick up the second time that you missed the first time. No one went back to see this fucking movie because it was horse shit. And I think it does show that the audience is getting a bit wiser and doesn't want to be burned over and over again. So I suppose that is encouraging at least. But I don't know. I just think when we are literally flooding the market, we've got to be a bit careful about the stuff we put out there. Have you guys got any other thoughts on this subject?
You guys said it pretty
Marvel properties on the whole.
Go on, Alex.
Marvel are, I don't know whether it's probably because they're Disney. They don't need the money. Marvel on the whole, in the film and TV universe, they don't need it. So they've spent time focusing and getting good product out, good product into the cinema. I mean, as much as people didn't really like the story of Civil War, or a few people didn't like it, it was an amazing film to watch. And the only other Marvel property that I've seen recently which even gets anywhere near to it is Deadpool. everything else that's been released, whether it's Fantastic Four or X-Men, it's just not hitting the mark. Whereas anything which has got that Marvel banner at the start and is produced by Marvel is absolutely knocking it out of the park. You look at the Netflix series. I know a lot of people fell out of love with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. early doors as well. Hello, Deadpool. A lot of people fell out of the S.H.I.E.L.D. early doors, but that's really picked up its game. And that's absolutely nailed it these last 2 seasons. And it is the fact that they're taking their time and they're not necessarily looking at the receipts and they're not looking at the budgets and scrimping back here and there. They're showing that they can release good property and it will pay for itself. And
Avengers
that's what
Infinity War
I
was
think.
the
That's
first
what,
billion-dollar movie.
Yeah, they need to realise that. I think Warner in particular need to realise that they can't necessarily scrimp back. They're going to lose viewers and they're going to lose them in droves. To Marvel of all people as well. DC won't be happy with that, but it seems to be a lot of DC properties are just not hitting it, whether it's TV or film, and they really need to pick it up.
I mean,
add a couple of extra dollars in.
Yeah, I mean the difference. I mean, Warner's obviously are looking over the fence and thinking, what are they doing that we're not? And they've just taken some of the wrong lessons from it. They've gone, they've got a shared universe with loads of characters, and they've just gone, let's do that, and shoved it all out in one movie.
Instead of put them in video tips.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of actually building to it organically. But what DC have never had, what Warner have never had, is Kevin Feige. And you can't underestimate the amount of the difference he makes to these projects, because he is just godfathering everything. And I would argue that he is as significant to these projects as the directors that they choose.
Oh, definitely.
And until recently, they tried with Christopher Nolan, who kind of didn't want to play in that world anymore, which is fair enough. And then Zack Snyder kind of got given the keys, which was a bit like giving a drunk baby the keys to a car. But now they've got Jeff Johns. This guy knows the world. He knows how to do serialized storytelling. He knows the characters and how to organically link things together. And if he can do what Kevin Feige did, and even like 50% of it, we could end up with a much better future for those projects. But it's going to be a case of, it's going to probably take a couple of years to start feeling the benefit.
That's what I mean. Like Justice League, I think, hopefully will be better.
Maybe they'll learn from their mistakes, but I think as a first act, if it ends with Justice League Part 2, we can probably... It's probably a safe bet. It's not going to be that great.
No.
But
I think Ben Affleck's Batman will be the first major hit, because I think Suicide Squad is going to hit well. Whether it'll be a good movie, I'm still not sure, because we're hearing a lot of things about the third act of that movie. So
yeah, I can see that being...
I think Suicide Squad's going to hit like Deadpool.
I'd like it to.
We'll see.
I think it's not really going to fit in, but it's going to be a fun film to watch and introducing the characters for the future.
I'm a little bit worried about that one, just because the trailers have been slightly schizophrenic. Like the first one we got was very sort of serious and dark, and then the second one was like trying to be Guardians. I was like, you can't be both of these things.
And then the third one was like, let's put 2 songs in there because that's...
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, which are you? Like, what is this movie? And we'll see. Like, I'm not going to write it off. We'll probably watch that and review that for the show and do a proper deep dive into it. But it's certainly one to watch because it's relatively free of Snyder's influence.
And David Ayer is a good director.
And he's decent. Good cast, and it's their first proper ensemble movie, which adds something. So it's difficult. It's a challenging movie to do right, but you never know. It could be the first of their upswing.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's the first movie that has Jai Courtney in it that doesn't make me immediately hate the man.
Well, that's something anyway. So, I think that'll do us for this week's show. If you're one of the people who sat through these videos, make sure you reward yourself for that and go and watch some porn or something like that. Or
Deadpool, it's out now on Blu-ray.
Yeah, All right, let's plug that for Fox. That's it.
Fox paid me to say that. This podcast I didn't know
Bit of
existed.
free
They paid
advertising.
me.
There you go. If you actually enjoy our particular brand of nonsense, you should let us know. Give us some positive ratings in iTunes. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. If, on the other hand, you think we are shit, then let us know in the comments, because it's always fun when strangers just crap all over your hard work. That doesn't upset us at all. So give us both barrels.
I prefer it.
If you want to do it directly, it's at TellyAlex. Just give him the abuse. I don't really want it. Scott is at ScottSedman94, and I am at IamKirkman. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Scott, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Yep.
See ya.